All right, here we go. In this second part, we're going to talk about types of angles and types of lines. So we just talked about when two rays join, they form an angle. Well, when they join, there's different types of angles, and we've got to classify these angles according to the measure. Well, if you have 0-degree angle, and I know some of you are trying to decide what that would look like, this is what it would look like when the rays overlap. That's 0 degrees almost to 90 degrees. These types of angles are called acute angles. And all that means is they have a measure from 89 down to 0. Those are acute angles. Then you have the angle that's straight up and down. For example, 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock on an analog clock. These are called right angles. And we'll talk a lot about right triangles as we get into this. But a right angle has a specific 90-degree angle. No more, no less. So a right angle. And you'll notice that the symbol to tell you that the angle is a right angle, you'll have a little box there in the corner. If you don't see that little symbol representing a 90-degree angle, you can't assume that it's 90 until you measure it. So we have less than 90, exactly 90. These angles are the ones that are past 90 degrees. If you notice, if this is your 90-degree mark, we've gone past 90 degrees, almost to the ground, but not quite. These are large angles. They're called obtuse. And what an obtuse angle is, it's basically more than 90, but not quite to 180, anywhere in between that range. And then finally, we have the straight up and down angle right here. And if you notice, this would also be half of a circle, which is 360 degrees. So if we only go halfway, that angle, that's where the 180 degrees comes from. And this is something called a straight angle. A straight angle. And what a straight angle is, exactly 180 degrees. So we've got less than 90, we've got exactly 90, we've got greater than 90 but not quite to 180, and then exactly 180. Acute, right, obtuse, and straight. Those are the 4 different types. Now obviously there's a lot more different types of angles as you get into your 8th grade high school geometry classes. There's interior angles, there's alternate, we've got all kinds of different angles coming up, but for right now, these are just the 4 classifications I want you guys to worry about today. So these are the 4 different types of angles. Now, in the same plane, we've also got different types of lines. If 2 lines are going to cross, not anything special, just crisscross lines, these are called intersecting. So when lines cross, these are called intersecting lines. And I know the spaces don't match up. I copied and pasted. So what intersecting lines are lines in the same plane that cross at a point. Lines in the same plane that will never cross. For example, railroad tracks. These lines will never cross. These are called parallel lines. Now the symbol for parallel, we need to talk about this. Let's name these. I'm going to highlight 2 points here. I'm going to call these points A and B. And on the second line, I'm going to highlight these 2 points, C, D. Well, now I can write a symbol in math that would translate into an English language sentence. For example, if I just wrote this in geometry, and the symbol for parallel is 2 vertical lines that look like the 2 L's in parallel. That's the way I remember it. So if I had this symbol and I said, guys and girls, translate that for me, you could write this as line AB is parallel to line CD, period, just from the symbols that we've written. So the symbol for a line, and the symbol for parallel. So that's going to be something that's going to come up here in just a minute. And then lastly, another special type of line. These lines actually do intersect, so they're special intersecting lines, but when they intersect at a 90-degree angle, that's important. These lines are called perpendicular. Weird word. So a perpendicular line, it's a special intersecting line. However, it forms a corner, like a 4-way stop. So let's highlight these 2 points. Let's call these A and B again. And I'm going to highlight these 2 points and call these C and D. So now here's the symbol for perpendicular. Once again, I can say line AB is perpendicular. So this is an upside down timeout sign. So think about an upside down T. That's the symbol for perpendicular, is perpendicular to line CD. And what that means is that line intersects this line at a 90-degree angle. So that's important. So we have intersecting lines, that's just two lines that crisscross like a pair of scissors. We have parallel lines in the same plane that will never intersect. And then we have lines that do intersect at right angles. Those are called perpendicular. All right, stay tuned.